I remember in the midst of the horror and unrest, 1968 ended on a hopeful note, when Apollo 8 orbited the moon and on Christmas Eve read the first 10 verses from the book of Genesis. The Apollo 8 astronauts also took the legendary Earthrise photo. That flight did more to unite the country and the world than any other event that year. The Apollo 8 mission helped set the stage for Apollo 11 6 months later. 40 years ago today, I remember watching the moon landing from the bachelor officers' quarters with my wife Jackie at the Naval Air Station, Meridian, Mississippi. It was a Sunday, and as a naval aviator, a group of us had just returned from New Orleans. We had had a weekend of revelry. However, we returned and gathered to watch this historic event. As was the case with most Americans and other people from around the world, it inspired me to explore. And although I never dreamed of becoming an astronaut at that time, I set off on a course that would eventually bring me here today. 4 decades after Apollo 11 landing, it is clear Apollo's legacy goes far beyond the moon rocks we brought back from the lunar surface. Besides inspiring me, Apollo inspired a generation of Americans and other young people around the world to study mathematics and science and pursue careers in aerospace-related fields. Young people helped build Apollo, and you would be hard-pressed to find an engineer at NASA old enough to remember the Apollo landings who doesn't put it near the top of the reasons that he or she came to work here. One of our challenges at NASA today is to inspire this generation of young people the way Apollo inspired us. Other impacts of Apollo are even more profound. In some ways, Apollo fundamentally changed how humankind views its place in the universe. The Apollo 8 Earthrise picture was called by a prominent photographer the most influential environmental photo ever taken. Former Vice President Al Gore said, and I quote, "That one picture exploded in the consciousness of humans. Within 18 months of this picture, the environmental movement had begun," unquote. The image showed Earth, according to the Apollo 8 crew, and I quote them, like a Christmas tree ornament lit up in space, fragile looking, unquote, against the blackness of the cosmos and desolation of the moon. Later Apollo crews also remarked on the fragile beauty of our planet from space, and all of the missions captured other stunning images, such as Apollo 17 and its full Earth photo. In a sense, by traveling hundreds of thousands of miles to visit the moon, we finally discovered our home, Earth. Having flown in space 4 times, I can tell you from my personal experience that seeing Earth from the vantage point of space truly changes one's perspective. Aboard the space shuttle, I saw the beauty of war-torn parts of our planet appearing peaceful and serene, without borders or boundaries. I also saw the majestic Amazon rainforest devastated by deforestation. My dream is that one day any American will be able to launch into space and see the magnificence of our home planet Earth, as I have been blessed to do. And when that day comes, it will have been the Apollo astronauts whom we honor tonight who blazed the trail. On behalf of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, I would like to again thank the Apollo astronauts for their bravery, dedication, and historic accomplishments. What you achieved will never be forgotten. Centuries from now, future generations will remember it was you who who took humankind's first steps beyond our planet. We salute you for all you have done for America and all you have done for the world. Thank you all for helping us celebrate.
As I'm sure you know, decisions at NASA don't happen in a vacuum. Pun intended there, a vacuum of space. I've actually participated in 2 commissions in the service of NASA. One was the Aerospace Commission back in 2001, dubbed the Walker Commission. It was on the Moon to Mars Commission, the Aldrich Commission. And what I remember about those commissions, we were trying to study what is, what should be, what isn't, what's possible. And I remember being bombarded. I'm one of the commissioners, bombarded by the public, people from the aerospace community. Everybody has an idea about what should happen with NASA. Somebody's got a new design for a rocket or a destination or a new propellant. And it was initially kind of annoying. It was like, we're trying to get our job done here. And then I had to pause and step back, and I realized that I don't know many agencies anywhere that has that level of concern expressed by members of the general public. The fact that so many people want to tell NASA what to do, that's not a bad sign, that's a good sign. And there I was being annoyed when, in fact, at the time, I should have celebrated it as an expression of love for the future of NASA, embedded within us all. The agency continues to solicit input from experts. Right now, as you may know, there's a committee for which Norm Augustine is the head, and they are studying the future of the manned spaceflight program at NASA. And so now I can tell you to get online on HSF, human spaceflight, hsf.nasa.gov, and tell them what you think. Do it. How many countries will even allow such a thing, much less have any sense or an idea that you could influence the direction the agency will take? So that's your public service announcement, to get in there and let people know what you think. So 40 years ago, we flew to the moon, expanding a space frontier. The past several years, we've been building a space station. It's expanding an engineering frontier. So we go from 250,000 miles away to a couple hundred miles above Earth in orbit. Tonight, I'll have you know, if you do not otherwise know this, that the crew in the space station now is the largest crew ever, and it has set a record at 13 crew members in orbit in the space station right now. So I just want to give a hand for the... I was trying to think of what you can do with 13 people. Is there some game that takes 13 people? I couldn't. Soccer? Football. One side of it, Canadian football. Let's take a look at what's going on up there. We've got some video roll. Because you may have noticed that last week, a lot happened last week. The weather finally cooperated. Space Shuttle Endeavour set sail on her 23rd mission. This one to the International Space Station and the 6-member Expedition 20 crew. There we go. The 7 members of STS-127 will conduct 5 spacewalks to complete the construction of JAXA's Kibo Laboratory. This is Japan Space Agency's Kibo Laboratory. And tonight, we're actually going to hear from 2 of the shuttle's astronauts, Commander Mark Polanski and mission specialist David Wolf. STS-127. We've got a video message from them. There's a time delay from orbit till it gets to here, just in case you didn't...
Hi, I'm Mark Polanski, commander of the Space Shuttle Endeavour and STS-127. Purdue University graduate, class of 1978.